they had a phrase that they used to describe how they should be treated. Nothing about us without us. It's really simple, right? I'm Ron Barber, one of the early directors of what is now Child Parent Centers. I came on board in 1971 and was there through 1974. And during that very short period of time, 3 years, we saw a lot of changes. Our headquarters was actually at a Head Start center over on First and Speedway in the back area of a church called First Christian. We had administrative offices along one side of it, and then the classrooms were separate. You know, the early days of the Head Start program when I joined it, it was just a one county program. We had several sites around Pima County, and we were under the Committee for Economic Opportunity, which was the Southern Arizona branch, if you will, of the War on Poverty, which was established by President Johnson, LBJ. That was launched in the mid to late 60s, and it involved all kinds of poverty prevention and intervention programs. And Head Start was really sort of the crown of the whole thing, because the requirement was that 50% of the board of directors of the Head Start program had to be made up of parents who were in the program. And there was also, I don't know if there was a requirement, but there was certainly encouragement to hire parents, to train parents and hire parents as teachers and teacher aides. That you really have to make sure that the people who are going to be impacted by whatever you're doing or whatever you're proposing have something to say about it, not just something, some real meaningful input to how this thing goes. And people are, you know, no matter what their socioeconomic standards are, level is, they're not going to be fooled by tokenism, you know, so it had to be real. And it was real in Head Start. Parents got to make decisions. So one of the things that we did during my tenure was to apply for a federal demonstration project grant from the, I think it was the Department of Education. The whole idea, and this was in 1973, maybe 72, was to see what it would take to have kids with disabilities be part of the regular school or preschool. The whole idea was an early stage of this development, this concept that if we had children with disabilities alongside typical kids, that both would learn. And this is exactly what happened. I'll never forget one scene. It's stuck in my memory all these years. We had the grant in place, and so we were beginning to bring in kids with physical disabilities and intellectual disabilities. And we had one little girl who, I don't know what happened to her arm, but her arm was amputated up to just above the elbow. And I was observing from my office, which would look right out on the playground, and I noticed that the teachers would always kind of maneuver around this little girl if they were going to take her somewhere and grab her left hand, which had a hand, and avoid the right arm, which was amputated, had been amputated. And I saw two kids come up. One grabbed the left hand and the other grabbed what was left of the right arm, and off they went to play. And I thought, that's what this is all about. The notion that we can get past the fear of the unknown when we actually come in contact with it. And for kids with disabilities, that's crucial. You know, Head Start is one of those agencies of the federal government that some people want to attack, but it's really hard to get your arms around anything to attack Head Start because it does such good work. And when we look at the decades of work it's done in terms of developing families into leaders, teachers, certified with AA degrees and all that, when we look at what it's done for the children in terms of the Head Start that it gives them into life, you know, it's incomparable. And research supports, it's not just anecdotal, it's really about the research that supports that if you provide services to children and supports to families at the earliest age possible, you're going to have a much better development for the child and for the family for that matter.